Okay, so the simple answer is probably no. Huge thank you for checking out the video. I've been Paul, and I'll see you next time. No, so I think that most people probably have a bit of a complicated relationship with The Last of Us Part 2. I was someone who read the leaks when they first came out, and though I wasn't suggesting we old yell at Naughty Dog, I was pretty disappointed with the way things were going. It almost put me off playing, but I gave the game a chance, and in the end, I did end up liking it, even if I wish that the story hadn't have started off with Abby doing a Tiger Woods impression. After the first episode's release, I ended up returning to it, and after playing through it, there's been a key theme that stuck out to me when playing. Now, I think that most people see the game as being a story about how an eye for an eye mentality leaves both people blind. It definitely does show that, but I think there's the often overlooked theme of forgiveness. But can we forgive Abby? Well, that's what I want to discuss in this video, and I also want to go over how I think they should handle the character in the second season. Ever since the show was announced, there's been the constant conversation topic of whether they should do what they do in the game, and that got me thinking of the best way to use her character. If you agree or disagree, then the thumbs up and down button are there for you, and also make sure you subscribe for videos like this every day. We're also selling a Last of Us inspired t-shirt to help support the channel, so if you want some cool merchant to help us out, then that will be linked as the pinned comment. Now, the creators of the show are extremely lucky because they know the kind of backlash that they got from the game. This hindsight will allow them to understand what people liked and what people didn't, and adjust the show accordingly to counteract the inevitable backlash. Just last week, the face model for Abby said she still gets sent hate mail over it, and because of this, I genuinely feel bad for the person who gets cast as her in the show. So how should the series bring her in to avoid this? Well, personally, I think that the game already gave us the answer. I think I speak for most people when I say that playing as Abby allowed you to see things from her point of view, and most people that hated her probably start to see why she did what she did. The Last of Us is the only game I can think of where you actually played as both a quote-unquote hero and villain, and it's a framework that really allowed you to see things from her perspective. So that is the key, and I think the second season should actually all be about Abby and her story, rather than doing it the way that we saw things play out in the game. Now, before you turn off the video, let me explain why. You see, on paper, Abby is very much the hero of her own story. Framed from her point of view, she's the person getting revenge on her father's killer who brutally murdered him, killed most of her Firefly family, and also destroyed humanity's chance of getting a vaccine. Had we not played as Joel in the first game, then we would very much be rooting for Abby from the off because, on paper, Joel's one of the biggest pieces of in the world. After you.
See you, chump.
However, we did play as him, so we totally get why he did it, and even though there'll be people that don't condone it, we can at least see things from his side. Because we saw his perspective, we at least understand even if we don't agree, and I want to see this employed with Abby in Season 2 as well. Now, I think the best way to make audiences root for Abby is to hide the Joel reveal from those that don't already know it. Therefore, newcomers don't have this bias and don't want to see her fail because they don't know. I also think it would be a massive gut punch for viewers to follow Abby on her journey, root for her, and in the last scene make us realise that she was actually hunting Joel for the entire season. It would be a massive oh shit moment that would completely mess with the audience's head who had no idea what was coming. Those that had been rooting for her the entire time would suddenly have to question what side they were on, and then they could see Joel's death play out, basically making it the red wedding of the series. Season 3 could then show things from Ellie's side, have his death early on, and then we could follow her on her quest for revenge and the eventual arc that happens in the game. Now, I went off on a tangent there, but it all kind of ties back to the key question of whether we can forgive Abby or not. I think it's an important question too, and what the game is really asking us is, if someone killed the person that we loved, could we let it go, or would we let our quest for revenge consume our entire lives? That's very much what Ellie wrestles with, and in the third act of the game, she's presented with a choice. She can either let things go and stay on the phone with Dina and her child, or go and get revenge on Abby. She chooses the latter, even after Dina says that she'll leave her, and she goes off and does it. Ellie simply can't let go, and because of this, she loses out. It shows just how the need for vengeance always takes over, and gives you tunnel vision and how you lose what's most important to you. It's always reminded me of that saying, if you seek revenge, you should dig 2 graves, as you'll lose out no matter what, and thus I think that Ellie's entire arc is about forgiveness. Now this is very much mirrored in her relationship with Joel as well. In the game early on, we learn the pair are no longer on speaking terms because she found out the truth about the Fireflies. Ellie ends up kissing Dina in the Tipsy Bison, and at this point, the bartender shouts some homophobic slurs. Joel stepped in and he punched him, which is when Ellie started to see Joel as the protective father that she once did. That night, the pair ended up speaking to each other, and Ellie said that though she can't forgive him, she is gonna try. Now, this scene actually plays out at a key point in the game, and it happens during the final battle between Ellie and Abby. For the third act, you play as Ellie as she hunts her down, and finds she's been captured by slavers along with her sidekick Lev. The muscle-bound woman she once was is no more, and she's a shadow of her former self due to the malnutrition and back-breaking labour she's been subjected to. Ellie ends up fighting her, and even though this is the final boss, it's pretty one-sided. You can probably beat Abby with one hand tied behind your back, and it's in this moment that Ellie realises what she's doing. She sees this cycle of violence that's going to repeat with Lev, and it likely means that she's going to be hunted herself one day. Now, this motif is also repeated in Abby, and after the fight in the theatre, she does have the opportunity to take Ellie and Dina out. However, Lev begs her not to, so she stands down and then lets them live. She very much forgives Ellie, even though she spent the last couple of days hunting her friends down. Now, this is very much reflected in Ellie at the end, and whether you think it works or not, I think that we're very much meant to be put in the position where we too forgive Abby. Joel was the character that we all became very attached to when playing the first game. However, like Ellie, I think a lot of us have learned to let it go and accept that The Last of Us Part 2 is The Last of Us Part 2. I still see people to this day dropping videos about it, and when face models are getting sent hate mail still, you start to think, is this worth becoming an arsehole for? After the recent playthrough of The Last of Us Part 2, I really start to see Abby in a new light, and Ellie along with her. In the end, she ends up forgiving Abby, and it really made me realise that I probably should too. Though I absolutely hated seeing Joel getting killed in the way that he did, the world that the creators built was ripe for this kind of thing to happen. The people in this world don't get to choose whether they live or die, and whether we admit it or not, Joel did a lot of bad things. This was very much his comeuppance, and we have the choice over whether to still hold a grudge over it, or be like Ellie, and accept that unfortunately that's what happened, but we won't let it destroy us too. Now, whether you forgive her or not is something else entirely, but I hope at the very least that this video has given you something to think about in regards to the second game. Also, I realise I'm coming across a bit holier than thou by being like, oh, you can't forgive Abby. Well, I can, but I think it elevated the second game for me realising that I was very much going on the same arc that Ellie was. Fictional characters and our attachments to them are weird as they don't exist, and yet when they're killed off, we very much feel like a real person has died. It's a weird sensation, but it shows just how well crafted that these stories are. Anyway, I hope this has given you a deeper appreciation for the second game, and obviously I'd love to hear your thoughts on it in the comments below. We are in a competition right now and giving away the 4K Rocky box set of 3 subscribers on the 15th of March, and all you have to do to be win the chance of winning is like the video, make sure you subscribe with notifications on, and drop a comment below with your thoughts on the video. If you want something else to watch, then one of our Last of Us videos is linked on screen right now, and hopefully I'll see you over there right after this. By the way, thanks for sitting through the video. I've been Paul, I'll see you next time. Take care, peace.